They said it couldn't be built. They said it was too expensive. They were wrong. I'm Bobby Stem, Executive Director of the Association of Oklahoma General Contractors. Building an expressway around Tulsa looked like a good idea more than 60 years ago, but getting from paper to pavement was a feat beyond measure.
The Gilcrease has been on the books for almost 60 years, and it was recognized as the outer loop on this side of our city.
Born of necessity.
When you restrict access, you restrict opportunities.
Fraught with countless roadblocks.
The topography of this particular site, you have a major river crossing. Crossing the rivers, those are expensive projects, but they're critically important.
There was no way to be able to build that link between US 412 and Interstate 44-244 that was really so desperately needed.
The idea remained an enigma, passed on from one generation to the next. Rich Briere, with the Indian Nations Council of Governments, remembers the project from when he started working for the Regional Planning Organization in the 70s.
There was a lot of interest. There was advocacy for this. The Chamber of Commerce, through their One Voice legislative agenda, this was a recurring priority in transportation year after year.
I had many people, elected officials say, this, we've talked about this for years, this is never going to happen.
City and county leaders never stopped planning, each year purchasing small pieces of right-of-way along the proposed route.
We had about $6.5 to $7 million a year that we were doing, and as you know, this one road segment is north of $320 million to complete. And as we've been working with our federal partners, because we have been doing it with Surface Transportation Program, it's like, you guys, we're going to be here for another 50 or another 60 years.
First, we were just focused on getting the bridge, just get the bridge. But then what kind of connection is that when you get on older county roads, that are not the wide, not Super 2s. So it just really didn't work.
Until 2017, when the stars aligned over the Tulsa city skyline and an idea began to develop. The right people converged and partnerships established like never before, creating a first-of-its-kind model in Oklahoma. March 2017, Governor Mary Fallin and transportation leaders at every level announced the most challenging transportation project in state history.
No entity in government, whether that was the Department of Transportation, whether that was the City of Tulsa, whether that was the Turnpike Authority, could figure out a way individually to construct that facility by themselves. We began to collectively think about how do we leverage the resources that are available, not to one entity, but to all. So we stood up there together and said, you know what, we're going to figure out a way to do this. The Turnpike Authority is going to have to be involved. It's going to have to be a toll route, because otherwise we can't figure out how to go build this massive project.
Right out of the box, after the announcement was made, Tulsa World wanted to have a meeting with the editorial board. So I met with the editorial board, and there was about, if you ever met with them, there's about 7 or 8 people that are part of that board, and they ask you different questions. And so they did, and they're taping, you're taping your conversation. Finally, one of them asked me, some particulars on the funding, how much of this, how much of that. And I said, can I talk off the record for just a second? And they said, sure, you can talk off the record. I said, guys and gals, we're making some of this up as we go along. And I think those were the words I used, because this was something new. I don't know that it's ever been done in the country before. It's kind of a unique issue.
The biggest issue, how to bring in the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority to complete construction on a project already federalized, leveraging INCOG's long-term pledge of future federal aid highway funding. Traditionally, Oklahoma turnpikes are funded through the sale of turnpike revenue bonds, similar to municipal bonds. But the enormous size and extensive scope of the Gilcrease Expressway demanded many partners, including the Federal Highway Administration.
So in order to deliver this project, all the different colors of money needed to come together. The City of Tulsa, who had done some of the plan development and purchased some of the right-of-way, Tulsa County, that had some of the right-of-way in the project, and they were stakeholders there. With INCOG's help supporting the debt, ODOT issued Garvey bonds to the tune of $71 million, which helped us purchase remaining right-of-way and begin moving some of the utilities. The Turnpike Authority put in about $140 million just in cash and then secured a TIFIA loan through the Federal Highway Administration to get about $120 million additional dollars to repay private activity bonds the contractor provided. All of that had to be done in order to capitalize on extremely low interest rates, and the low interest rates are passed along directly to the users.
And so, it all came together. At that same March 2017 meeting in Chandler Park, the Gilcrease partners agreed OTA would spearhead this monumental project. Despite a major flooding event in 2019, a global pandemic the next year, discovery of a major archaeological site, and construction within a few hundred feet of nesting bald eagles, construction crews began moving dirt in spring 2020.
I think this corridor, you're going to see it develop like when we put the Creek Turnpike in. It's unbelievable what happened over there. And I think you're going to see something similar happen with the Gilcrease Expressway.
As important as economic development is the safety and efficiency the expressway offers motorists.
It enhances the regional transportation, but it also greatly improves the local commute for transportation. Everybody's not having to rely on a series of section line roads that gets to a couple of bridge crossings that we have across the Arkansas River. We now have just a full network built out.
"61 years after Tulsa leaders dared to dream of bridging the transportation gap between the city's north and west sides, a modern crossing now spans the Arkansas River, and a new partnership model creates additional opportunities to make possible future grand ideas."
I think really what we did on the Gilcrease West, with all the different colors of money and all the different partnerships, I see as we tackle future projects, that's going to be the pathway to success on doing any of those. I just don't believe people can, or entities can really do it on their own. And we're looking forward to future partnerships.
If it would have been easy, this would have been done long, long ago. It took everybody working together and this creative partnership, including the first TIFIA loan in the state of Oklahoma, to really make this possible.
The thing would not have been constructed without the participation of the Turnpike Authority, without the tolling component, and certainly without the partnership and fellowship of all of the governmental entities working together. And quite frankly, I will tell you that is the way things are going to have to get done going forward in the future. We're going to have to leverage the resources that all entities can bring to the table.
If you think the story ends here, well, you'd be wrong, because transportation never stops.